Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Strangers, Chapter 1. And this is a new film in this series, kind of reframing where it's coming from. I've never seen the original The Strangers starring Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler, but this film is starring Madeleine Petsch of Riverdale fame and Ryan Bone as this young couple who have an incident, wind up having to stay in this small town, this Airbnb cabin, and wind up being stalked by three masked figures. The iconic, scarecrow doll face pinup, who are the ones who are not doing the great things in terms of stalking this couple. And this is from director Renny Harlin, who did, Cliffhanger and Die Hard 2, which is very interesting because he hasn't done anything outside of VOD in a while, and this is probably his biggest profile film in years. And unfortunately, it's extremely frustrating. I did not like this experience watching this film. The first act is a lot of setup, very stereotypical, flat kind of, oh, these two city folk coming into out woodsy kind of thing, and it being awkward. A lot of the dialogue is very stiff and bland and uninteresting. The dynamic, I think Petsch gives a strong performance here. I don't know about Bone. It's kind of just it's their kind of performance. But Petsch is the one that honestly is one of the few highlights of this film. There's some fun needle drops, but they're also extremely obvious in ways. But, I think musically, it has some good moments. I think from a filmmaking standpoint, there's a couple of sequences that can be a bit thrilling, but especially them being stalked in the home before they know that they're being stalked in their home, inside this home. What's frustrating about this film is that it never really feels like it's tense enough. Also, there's editing issues that just feel clunky and awkward in terms of splicing in POV shots of a character looking around, and then these really awkward, nonsensical shots just shoved in there to be I get it, he's looking around, we get it, we're good. But this film also just feels like it's a plotting mess, and there's so many illogical elements towards the story and how it's portrayed and how these characters act. It's just so awkward and uneven and prolonged. There's such a little logic in terms of to what extent they're just playing around, which the whole thing is they're just playing with us. Just feels like a really lazy way to set up a situation where it's just well, we need to keep this going. We need to get this to feature length at 91 minutes, and it just has all this excess elements. There's ideas and sequences that had some promise, but it never feels like Harlan's able to really deliver on it. And in the end, this film has such a horrific mix of apathetic conclusion, anticlimactic conclusion, and nonsensical, illogical choices made in the climax that just opens the door for this to become a franchise. And when this film, after giving such an awkward and unsatisfying final bit of this story, just ends with a "to be continued," because of course there's chapter 2 and 3 of this story that doesn't feel like a whole story or whole film to begin with. Why do we need 2 sequels? It's just, everything feels so convenient. These masked people are probably the most genius people in the world, and they could use telepathy because they know exactly what this young couple's going to do and somehow finds every way to block them at any turn. It's just it's so ridiculous. There's no logic to it. It feels so convenient, this script, in terms of the story, especially the conflicts between the characters and what they're going to do to resolve some brutal elements of these films. And this film really does not capitalize on an interesting home invasion concept. It just leans into so many tired tropes And it's just after a while, you're rolling your eyes and you feel so unsatisfied by the time you reach the finale that you're just like, why did I spend my time watching this? But those are my thoughts on The Strangers Chapter 1. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.